The most terrifying diseases that give you animal-like traits. Some diseases don't just affect your health, they completely change the way you look, making people appear like something straight out of mythology. From werewolf-like hair growth to vampire-like teeth, here are some of the most terrifying real-life conditions that give people animal-like traits. 1. Werewolf Syndrome, Hypertrichosis. Hypertrichosis, also known as Werewolf Syndrome, is a rare genetic condition that causes excessive hair growth all over the body, including the face. In extreme cases, people are completely covered in thick fur-like hair, making them look just like mythical werewolves. The most famous case of hypertrichosis was Julia Pastrana, a woman in the 19th century whose entire body and face were covered in dark, thick hair. Her gums were also overgrown, making her mouth and jaw resemble an ape's. Instead of living a normal life, she was forced to perform in freak shows, where people paid to see the bear woman. Another case was Supatra Sasufan, a Thai girl officially recognized as the hairiest girl in the world. No matter how many times she shaved, the hair grew back just as fast. Unfortunately, there is no cure, and many people with hypertrichosis have faced discrimination and were even believed to be real werewolves in the past. 2. Vampire Syndrome, Hypohidrotic Ectodermal Dysplasia. Some people are born looking just like vampires: thin, pale skin, dark eye sockets, and sharp fang-like teeth. This is due to a rare disorder called Hypohidrotic Ectodermal Dysplasia, or Vampire Syndrome. One of the most famous people with this condition is Michael Berryman, a Hollywood actor known for his terrifying roles in horror films like The Hills Have Eyes. His lack of hair, sharp facial structure, and sunken eyes make him look like a real-life vampire. The condition causes major problems beyond appearance. People with vampire syndrome have no sweat glands, meaning they can't regulate their body temperature. If they're exposed to too much heat, they can suffer from life-threatening overheating. Many also have brittle nails and pointed teeth, making them resemble classic vampire legends. 3. Blue Skin Syndrome, Methemoglobinemia. Imagine looking in the mirror one day and realizing your skin has turned completely blue, not from makeup, but permanently. This is exactly what happens to people with methemoglobinemia, a condition that prevents the blood from carrying enough oxygen, turning the skin a deep blue or even purple. One of the most famous cases was the Blue People of Kentucky, a family whose skin turned completely blue due to a rare genetic mutation. They lived in isolation for generations, and doctors were shocked when they first encountered them. Another well-known case was Paul Carrison, also known as Papa Smurf. After years of drinking a homemade silver-based health remedy, his skin turned a shocking shade of blue, and it never went away. Even though he wasn't in pain, his strange appearance made people avoid him in public. Methemoglobinemia might sound harmless, but in extreme cases, it can lead to serious oxygen deprivation, organ failure, and even death. 4. Mermaid Syndrome, Sirenomelia. Sirenomelia, also called Mermaid Syndrome, is an extremely rare condition where a baby is born with their legs fused together, resembling a mermaid's tail. The condition is usually fatal because the fused legs often come with severe organ defects. However, one of the most famous cases was Shiloh Pepin, also known as the real-life mermaid. She was born with her legs completely joined together, with no bladder, uterus, or colon. Doctors didn't expect her to survive more than a few days, but against all odds, she lived until the age of 10. Another case was Milagros Cerón, a Peruvian girl who had a successful surgery to separate her legs, allowing her to walk for the first time. Despite surviving the surgery, her internal complications remained, and she required lifelong medical care. 5. Stoneman Syndrome, Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if your muscles slowly turned into solid bone? That's exactly what happens in Stoneman Syndrome, a condition where injuries cause the body to grow extra bones, completely trapping the person in their own skeleton. One of the worst parts of this disease is that any small injury, like a bump or bruise, can trigger bone growth in the wrong places. Over time, People with Stoneman syndrome lose the ability to move as their joints fuse together. Eventually, they become trapped in a second skeleton, unable to bend their arms, legs, or even their jaw. There is no cure, and surgery to remove the extra bone only makes it worse. When doctors try to cut out the bone, the body grows back even more. Most people with this disease end up fully immobilized and rely on caretakers for basic survival. 6. Lizard skin disease, Harlequin ichthyosis. Imagine your skin growing thick, hard scales, cracking open like a reptile's hide. This is the horrifying reality for people with Harlequin ichthyosis, a genetic condition that causes extreme thickening of the skin, making it look like lizard scales. Newborn babies with lizard skin disease often don't survive long because their thickened skin prevents normal movement, sweating, and even breathing. The skin constantly cracks open, making them vulnerable to infections. One best survivor is Hunter Steinitz, a woman who has defied expectations by living into adulthood despite having this condition. She has to constantly apply lotion to prevent her skin from cracking painfully.